Gesagt, Renee, ich weiß nicht, ob ich soll sagen Guten Morgen, Gute Nacht, Guten Nachmittag.
Other journalists who took part in the Bosch Fellowship program scored similar success, managing to put together on-air pieces during their fellowship years using their newfound language skills.
But arguably the biggest constant of the program is the development of friendships and the opening of minds.
It was just an enormous challenge, I think language-wise, also emotionally as a Jewish person. I mean, very few people in my family had really spent time in Germany, and if you go and you live in a place like Berlin where World War II is just all around you, it is a very emotionally challenging environment, but for me the whole experience was very positive.
One favorite experience I had was going to the carnival in Cologne. That year it happened to be snowing heavily that day. So we were wandering around the streets of Cologne in a blinding snowstorm with all of the characters dressed up in all their outfits and the bands and the parades. That was a tremendous experience.
I think it's a really amazing experience to be in this unique program with 19 other really talented, gifted, intelligent, diverse individuals. We definitely have some, I guess, Bosch-stalgia, or longing for the Bosch days. But I think really the friendships and the professional relationships that I made with the other fellows was maybe my favorite part.
For some Bosch fellows, newfound friendships blossomed into something far greater. Amanda Mertens and Dave Campbell, members of Bosch 22, bonded during their language training in Berlin. Who knew German was the language of love?
We were in the same language class in August. I came over a little later, having had some prior German. And we just had very deep connections on a lot of things, intellectually and personally, and we continued to date, and we both were back in Washington, and eventually I scooped her up.
I got out of my year a lot of things, a professional fluency in the language, the experience of visiting the EU, and I also got a future husband. It was a fairy tale year.
Now more than 400 strong, Bosch alumni now live all over the world, literally, from Boston to Bangkok to Berlin to Washington, New York, and beyond, holding high-ranking positions in government, finance, and journalism, applying what they learned in the fellowship program to times of triumph and tragedy.
Christopher Kojum, a member of Bosch 5, co-authored the 9/11 report and is considered one of the nation's foremost experts in homeland security.
It's been a real privilege to work on important questions at the heart of national life, and I've enjoyed it greatly. And there's no question in my mind that this experience of a year in Germany just influences my thinking and perspective every day in ways that you can't really quantify and put a specific measure to, but above all, it just shapes your perspective, your willingness to entertain other points of view and treat other people and civilizations with great respect.
Seth Oppenheim has applied his experience in the Bosch program to an interest in and appreciation for other cultures. Today, he's working as an attorney for the Defense Department on legal issues pertaining to Guantanamo Bay.
I'd like to think by having somebody who's been a Bosch fellow in a role where I have the opportunity to possibly affect policy, at least in a very small way, and having had that experience in Germany and understanding a bit more how the German government and the German people think, I think that's really the kernel of what the program is trying to do.
Ann Richard, member of Bosch 2, went on to hold high-ranking positions in the Peace Corps and in the office of Madeleine Albright.
I came back from the year in Germany much more interested in the U.S. government because the German bureaucrats had asked me so many questions about how things worked in the U.S., and I could only answer about half of them. So it really made me much more energized to understand my own government better.
And Rob Benstermacher, member of Bosch 16, has applied what he learned during his year in Germany to his role as director at CDS, where he now helps the Robert Bosch Stiftung facilitate the very program of which he was a part.
it's most definitely helped me get to where I am today. My goal in going over there was really to find out more opportunities for expanding German-American exchange programs, something I had been passionate about before doing the program. And as a result, I feel like I was prepared to take over a position here in the United States running a German-American exchange organization.
Most fellows agree if it was the goal of the Stiftung in creating the fellowship program to plant the seeds for enhanced transatlantic relations, it succeeded, and then some.
And I remember hearing the concept during my interview for the fellowship of multipliers. They were looking for multiplier type of figures. And that meant people who would absorb a German living experience of 9 months and somehow integrate it into their future life and work in an abiding way. I'd have to say of the fellows that I've stayed in touch with that I believe the program has really succeeded.
The brand new class of Bosch Fellows, Bosch 26, like all of the Bosch classes that have come before, represents a broad range of cultures, religions, and political opinions. But if they're anything like their predecessors, one thing they'll likely agree on when they complete their turn at the program a year from now, being a Bosch Fellow is the gift of a lifetime.
The Bosch program is, one of those 2 or 3 things that I'm just, stand out as a real watermark in my lifetime, and I think always will, and it's something that stays with you every day. There's not a week that goes by that I don't think about my friends over there.
I think the Bosch program definitely convinced me that you have to run out and experience other cultures, other countries, meet other people, learn about life from other perspectives. And that's something that I've tried to pass on to my children, that you don't just sit back on the couch and watch it on television.
What is great about Bosch is that it has transcended presidencies, political shifts in U.S. foreign policy. And so for the last 25 years, regardless of who's in power, what Germany's perspective of the U.S. is or U.S. perspective of Germany is, the Bosch Fellowship is there to promote transatlantic relations, to promote international understanding.
It was really a great experience, absolutely. It was a lot of fun, and it was really great, professionally as well as personally.
I made lifetime friendships for it, and it was absolutely inspiring and enriching.
But the fellowship program is really I think a very thoughtful and a very productive way to speak to people right at the beginning of their careers, when they're in a position to absorb and benefit from the living experience, integrated into their future activities. I continue to admire the program and its founders and the commitment of the foundation to stick with it for 25 years.
It was a fantastic experience in terms of really getting to learn another country, understand their people, make connections with them. And I now have a second home outside of New York. I really consider Berlin my city as well. Happy birthday, Bosch Foundation Fellowship Program.
Happy birthday, Robert Bosch Fellowship Program.
Herzlichen Glückwunsch, Stipendienprogramm zur Förderung von amerikanischem Führungsnachwuchs.
Happy birthday, Robert Bosch Foundation.
Happy birthday, Bosch, and thank you for a great year.
Happy birthday, Robert Bosch Foundation Fellowship Program.
Suffice it to say, it's been quite a quarter century. Happy birthday!
I had the time of my life.